This is a WMUR Commitment 2020 special in partnership with the New Hampshire Institute of Politics. Conversation with the candidate. Tonight, former Congressman John Delaney.
Good evening and welcome to our Conversation with the Candidate series. I'm Adam Sexton and our guest this evening is former Congressman John Delaney. Tonight we'll be getting to know Representative Delaney and where he stands on key issues. At the start of our show, I'll be asking the candidate some questions, and then after a break, we'll have our studio audience ask their questions in a town hall format. But before we get to that, let's take a quick look at the candidate's biography. John Delaney was born in Woodridge, New Jersey in 1963. He graduated from Columbia University and has a law degree from Georgetown. After law school, Delaney launched two companies that ended up on the New York Stock Exchange. For his first business, he was the youngest CEO of a publicly traded company. His second was focused on providing loans to small and mid-sized businesses, and the Obama administration gave it the Bank Enterprise Award for investments made in low-income communities. In 2012, he was elected to Congress from Maryland and served 3 terms, saying he worked hard for veterans, stronger public education, and to combat the opioid crisis. Delaney has served on the board of directors for several nonprofits, such as the National Symphony Orchestra and the Boys and Girls Club. He also founded a nonprofit that advocates for economic development and job creation in his home state. Delaney is married and has 4 children. Congressman, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. So let's jump right into this. It's a crowded Democratic field, still growing. Don't know how large it'll get, maybe 24 or more candidates. How do you stand out in a field that already has big guys like Bernie Sanders?
Well, I'm a problem solver, right? I'm very focused on solving problems. I've been doing that my whole life. I'm focused on getting really big things done for our future. As an entrepreneur, I'm a builder. I tend to think about where the world is going, and I've got big ideas to make the future for my kids and your kids better. I want to restore a sense of common purpose to who we are as a country. I think one of the most important issues in this country right now is how divided we are. And I'm running to restore a sense of moral decency to the presidency. So that message, a problem solver who's focused on bringing people together to get things done, I think that's very unique from what we're seeing with the rest of the field.
You were the first candidate into the race all the way back in 2017. Arguably, you've heard from more voters for longer than anyone else who's in the race. So what are the voters most concerned about right now?
I think at the end of the day, voters are concerned about things that really affect their lives, right, as they should be, whether it's education, right, what's going on with their kids in school, whether their job and their pay, what's happening in the workplace. They're worried about how changes like automation and things like that are affecting their job and the opportunities for their kids. They're worried about their health care. They see pharmaceutical prices going up, opioid addiction that's ravaging our country. They see it in their community. They worry, will there be jobs for their kids in their communities? I mean, they're worried about those basic kitchen table issues that really affect their lives. They're not as worried about a lot of the issues we all talk about in politics sometimes. They're generally focused on things that really matter to them and their families.
You want to expand service opportunities for America's youth. Tell us about that plan that you have.
So I'm going to launch an initiative to give every kid who graduates from high school an opportunity to serve their country. Not mandatory, but kind of an exciting incentive-based program where they could sign up for national service. They could either join the military, or they could do community service, or they could do a whole new program around infrastructure, rebuilding our national parks, that kind of stuff. Kids will be mixed with each other from all over the country. They'll get skills. It'll help get them ready for college if that's what they want to do, or if they just want to get a job, they'll actually get a certificate out of it. And I think would be something that really brings us together.
National debt right now is at $22 trillion.
Yes.
Federal deficits are exploding. Every one of the Democrats has an ambitious agenda they want to achieve. How do you bring that agenda into reality and also reduce our national debt?
Well, you have to tell the American people how you're going to pay for things. That's one of the things that's unique about me. Whenever I lay out a program, I'm like, this is how I'm going to pay for it. Because I think the debt we're leaving our children is absolutely unpayable. We have to change the fiscal trajectory of this country. And this last tax cut that went through in the Congress, the Trump tax cut, made the situation worse. I mean, we're running huge deficits at a time when the economy is actually pretty good. So my proposal is to lower our deficits to about 2% of our economy, because if we do that and our economy can grow at least 2.5% to 3%, which I believe it can under my policies, the debt as a percentage of our economy will go down, and we'll leave our children a debt that they can handle.
You also want to emphasize research and development. Which industries get that money under a President Delaney?
Well, so I want to continue all the good investments we make in life sciences through things like the NIH. but I want to dramatically increase our investments in clean energy research. If you look at the problem we have with climate change, which is very significant, and we need to do something about right away, which is why I introduced the only bipartisan carbon tax bill in the Congress. That's right, a bipartisan carbon tax bill, and I believe I can get that done in my first year. But that's not going to solve the problem. We actually have to almost innovate our way out of the problem, just like the American people have done historically. And so the best way for us to do that is with a 5-fold increase in the Department of Energy research budget around energy storage, transmission technologies, and maybe the most exciting technologies that are out there are called negative emissions technologies. These are actually machines that take carbon out of the atmosphere. They're much more promising than people think, right? But they're too expensive right now, so we need more innovation to bring down the cost so they become a practical solution. So my approach to climate change is to slow it down dramatically with a carbon tax, which I believe I can get passed in my first year as presidency. With every Democrat and all the Republicans in coastal states, that coalition can get a carbon tax bill passed. And then I want a moonshot type effort around research. So we have breakthroughs in storage, transmission, and negative emissions technologies so that we can actually innovate ourselves out of this problem across the long term.
Let's talk briefly about foreign policy here. We're less than 2 decades removed from 9/11, and you don't hear a lot of talk about international terrorism anymore. How much of a priority would that be in your administration?
Well, you know, it's a big priority, but it involves engaging around the world. I mean, the way we create a world that's more secure and more peaceful for our citizens and for citizens all around the world is by engaging with our allies, which is something that the current president is not doing. He doesn't value our allies the way prior presidents have, and he doesn't have a framework about how we deal with foreign policy that involves the U.S. engaging with our allies. It's always a significant risk. It's one of the top priorities of the President of the United States, if not the #1 priority, to keep the American people safe. And it'll be a big priority in my administration.
Okay, Congressman Delaney, we're going to continue this conversation in a moment. Coming up after the break, we'll bring our studio audience into the conversation. Stay with us.